Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Farming Simulator 19 here in Erlengrat. It's kind of there. There's the edge of the field. Right there. So if I press H here, helpers has completed their task. That's actually turning it the wrong way, so I want to turn it that way. Go on forward a little bit more. There's the edge of the field. It's turned quite a bit more than I thought it would be. But he should be able to get the edge of that. We're going to just watch it for a little bit here. So he's turning it, so it is turning uphill, which is where I wanted it. It's quite dark soil up here, isn't it? Though I think with the grass being cut, we didn't go all the way to the end of the field. We will have to like do a run around the outside edge just to tidy that up, because if you look there, there's a whole lot more field. Right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop that there for a minute. It looks like we want to go all the way up here. And this is where the top end of the field is. How far over are you? Right, that goes to about there. That's where the top edge of the field is. Looking at it. Yeah, there we go. See? It's out there like that. So we've got, like, there's an area here that we could potentially move out and make a little bit bigger. I'm not going to at the moment, because I'd have to buy a stump grinder in order to be able to oh, actually, we've got a stump grinder, so I could do that. We could go and remove it. I've also got the item remover, so we could also go and get rid of some of those big stones if we wanted to. But I feel that maybe there should be a bit of cost involved in that, so I'm not quite sure how we could figure that little bit out. That'll be something that we would look at later. How big is the field here? Oh, there we go. There's the edge of it. Come all the way over to there. And then he'll turn round. The actual edge of this field is out a bit further than I thought it was. Or at least parts of it are. Right here. Where's he going now? To that bit. Yeah, that goes out quite a long way. That's definitely out further than I thought it was, just there. So maybe, I mean, what I might do is once I've finished doing the ploughing of the field, I might just go round and some of these bits I think could be do with like a little bit of leveling work, because right there, that really deep pit, we've already encountered trouble with the mower getting through that bit right there, so we could do a little bit of work on that just to like improve the situation on there a little bit. Things like that. But generally speaking, I think this is going to end up looking quite good. So we'll go and get some other jobs going in a minute. I just want to have the tractor doing a bit of ploughing here, because I think this looks really cool. Just like that. I love the look of the new plough that we've got. That definitely does look very awesome. Some of these bits along the edges, we might want to be using some of the facilities in the game that will allow us to just make some slight modifications to this to allow us to smooth the ground out a bit, and then I'll have to go over it again with the plough in order to properly... Something that I want to look at on here. I'll just get it started. Yeah, we might want to smooth the ground out a little bit. Right, I'm just going to stop that one there. And I'm going to bring it back this way a bit, so he's kind of like overlapped up that way slightly. And all I was wondering is if there was any controls to make the plough go a little bit wider, but there doesn't seem to be. So we'll press H on there. It comes all the way back over this far. Yeah, we'll definitely need to manually go around the edge and just do a pass or two just to make sure that we tidy up the outside run, because it's going to end up leaving bits. And as I said, there's a couple of little spots as well that we want to tidy up. But generally speaking, I think we're doing a good job here already. It's starting to look pretty good. It's like that the brow of the hill just there could do with probably smoothing out, leveling out a little bit. And the same with the bit in there, like that big dip just in there. Could be smoothed out. We've got these bits over here. Look, there's a tree stump right there that I want to get rid of. There's another one over there that I get rid of. That's got most of it. So then we've kind of got quite a big area of field right here that we can go and plow out. And we'll level this and the brow of the hill up over there at the same time. So there's a few little bits that we want to do just to improve the quality of our field and make sure that we've got some better coverage on here. Just jump back up here and have another little look at this one driving along, because I'm quite pleased with this. And also partly because I'm wondering what it's going to do with this little tiny strip that I already ploughed. How much is that going to cause me problems? Is it going to say that it doesn't like it and therefore it's just going to give up and stop running? Because now this bit is going to go all the way up to the other end of the field. Oh, actually, he might be alright, because when we come back again, it might actually like go out to the other side of this little strip of land. He's going to get to there. Now what's he doing? He's turning around just here. So it doesn't go all the way up to the tree up there. Just goes this far. And he comes in. He's going to say that he's already done, or is that... Oh, I see. It's just on the edge enough that it's thinking that it still needs to be doing the ploughing, and then from here on it's going to be fine. Okay, we will let you keep going there. So we want fertilizer jobs first, so we will accept that contract on field 8, field 10, and field 12. There's 2 weeding jobs up here. We've got 7 and 23. So both of those, we've got a ways to go. Borrow items on 7, borrow items on 23. So let's just double check on here. 23 there, and field 7 all the way over there. So those 2 are going to be the time-consuming ones. I will go and get those first. So we will take you. That was the first one over there, so I did field 7 and then field 23. But I'll get both of them done. So obviously, once again, the weeding jobs, they don't pay us any money. We about break even on them, but we get the money for the job when we cash in on it later on. I think it was 7 and 23s. That I think that was the order that I took them. I know that this one is we have got a little bit of a trip, so we'll drive this one up. Yeah, so that's a lot of what I've been talking about is kind of character development in the Ultimate Sim. You've got law and order, you've got medical, fire as well. Now, could you be a fireman? Could you fight fires? Would there be a fire and rescue service? Something along those lines? Would that be something that could be put into the game? I feel actually of police, fire and ambulance, police, fire and medical care, fire would be the most difficult one to put into the game in some sort of viable way, because you'd have to have people's houses and the buildings catching fire and burning down, things like that, in order to have you going and doing that. So how would that even work? Would the whole map have to be something that could be burned? And then there's obviously the case of what's able to be caused by a player with arsonist tendencies, and what is caused by an accident occurring. Little things like that. So, I mean, that one... Yeah, I feel that potentially is quite a difficult one to answer, whether or not a fire service could be included in the game or not. I don't really know. I would guess that if you've got the ability to create this Ultimate Sim game, and you've got the ability to include in it a really good justice system, as well as some form of healthcare model that, you know, something along the lines of what I've been discussing. Taxes are being paid and collected, wages being done. In theory, you would also be able to do some kind of mechanic for fire and fire services, although I'm not sure that that one would necessarily be one that would... So I don't know how that would work to be sort of something rewarding in a game, because you've also got to remember that it's got to be a rewarding experience for gameplay. Something else that somebody said was they would, you know, if they could have this game, they would want to run a bar. Run a bar of some kind. So you got players can go there, they can chat, so it would kind of be like a social room. You can buy drinks and you can use them, and if you buy a drink, say you get a... I mean, what would be the incentive for buying a drink? Now, in a lot of games, you can just go and buy an alcoholic drink, and it does indeed give you an alcohol effect where your vision goes all blurry, that kind of thing, which is funny, and no, it's amusing and so on, and then that's about it. So a lot of players don't spend very much money doing it. So if you're running a bar, how do you make the money? You can have mini games in there, so you could have games of pool, you could have arcade games like Pac-Man and so on, and players can go in there and they can actually play these mini games. So you could play a game of Pac-Man while you're in there, you could play a game of pool while you're in there. With another player, you could just go along and you could rack them up and then you play a game. You could have card games off to the side. Doesn't necessarily have to be a game of Gwent. It could be a game of anything you want it to be. Although I very much doubt you'd actually get the license to be able to play Gwent in there, so that one wouldn't really matter. But you could go and play card games. So there'd be a few card games that you could go and play. Gambling with real money, definitely not. Gambling with in-game money on betting on card games, maybe playing poker in-game for in-game cash. I see no reason why not. I think that would be... So you could run a casino if you wanted to, and then you could take your hard-earned in-game money and see if you could go and make a bit more in-game money in a casino. You won't. Right? Casinos are designed to take your money, not give you money. That's how casinos make their money, is they take yours. So just a word to the wise there, ladies and gentlemen. If you think that you're going to go into the Ultimate Sim game and make your fortune through chucking money at the casino, think again. The only way you make money with a casino is if you own it. Then you'll make money with it. Then you'll make a lot of money with it. But maybe if you're running a bar, you could have these mini games going on. But also, you know, I said about the incentive for a player to go to a restaurant and have a meal at a restaurant is that if they do that once per week in-game, then they get a buff that lasts them for a week of in-game days. And I was also talking about, you know, a time scale, whether it would be 4 hours real time per in-game day or something along those lines. Maybe an hour for a day, so that the day-night cycle goes through quite quickly. So that every 7 hours you'd go to the restaurant. Maybe that would be too much. Maybe 4 hours. So a week is roughly equivalent to about 24 hours, give or take a little bit, obviously. So that way, you know, if you go to a restaurant, how much time is it going to take at the restaurant? So maybe you want the in-game days to last a bit more, or go a bit less, because if it's going to take you 30 minutes of 30 minutes of real-life time to go to the restaurant, And you basically got to do that once per real-life day in order to get a buff to get a 10% bonus on your earnings or something like that. It's going to get annoying. You're going to feel like you have to do it, but it's going to get really, really frustrating, the amount of time that would be involved with it. So maybe the buff would last longer, maybe the in-game days go by a little bit faster. I don't know. That there would have to be a balance figured out. You could do something similar with drinks, because drinks don't take very long. You go up to the bartender, you say, right, I want one of these, I'll have this, I'll have a cup of coffee. And so then the bartender gives you a cup of coffee, and you go off with your coffee. Well, you take your coffee off to have your drink, and everything is absolutely fine. And it doesn't last very long. The buff would be 1 in-game day, but it literally takes you 30 seconds to order the coffee, and then maybe 2 minutes of your time in total, and then you've got, if it's 1 day is 4 hours, then you're looking at your 4 minutes of game time, and you've then got 4 hours of gaming time with this buff that is active. The next question is, does the buff stay on, is the buff on the server side or is the buff on the player side? Because if the buff is on the server side, then you spend 4 minutes out of your 1 hour of game time, and if it takes about 4 hours, if one in-game day takes about 4 hours to go past, you go and get your drink, and then you've got a buff that lasts you for a day. So your drink could be 2% extra earnings. Not stackable with food, maybe? I mean, maybe it would be stackable. Maybe that would be sort of a stackable buff, so you could go and get a drink every now and then, keep up that 2%. 2% though, if you don't get it, it's still not going to give you a major loss, but there are people who would sort of feel, yeah, I'll go and do that, and then I can stack that one up with the food buff. If I go to the restaurant every day, then I get that as well. But because it only ticks down while you're online, that means that although the buff technically only lasts for 1 in-game week, if you've gone to the restaurant and you've ordered that thing, it's still roughly 24 hours of game time. Well, I said 4 hours for each, so 4 times 28 hours of game time. So it's still 28 hours of real-life time has to go by before you need to go and get another restaurant buff. So therefore, if you've got that much gaming time available, 28 hours of gaming time needs to go by before you have to worry about going and getting another food buff from the restaurant. Therefore, it could be that 30 minutes of in-game time to get that buff could be considered something that would be worthwhile. So that way, you've got players who can run the restaurant. They can go and actually cook you the food with a whole cooking simulator type situation going on. So that could be an interesting way, and a mechanic there that would be able to get that to work. Again, I have already talked about that. It's just something that would need balance. All of this stuff needs various balances to make sure that it would work properly. And okay, we're doing quite well here now. We've done quite a chunk of our fields. Quite pleased with this. I'm back in another recording session, and this time I'm not using my steering wheel. Some of you know that I don't use my steering wheel all the time because I have hypermobility. Basically, if I stay still for too long, it starts to really hurt, and it's sort of playing up a bit today. So using the steering wheel means I can't move around as much as I need to. It's also the same reason why I have a headset with an attached microphone rather than a separate stand-alone microphone on the desk, because if the microphone's on the desk, you generally have to stay sort of fairly still in relation to the position of the microphone in order to get the best use out of it, whereas I move around quite a lot, which is why I have a headset and microphone attached to that one. So anyway, long story short, keyboard steering for the next couple of episodes. I'm just checking on the progress of the plough. sort of been round and checked on progress of everything else. Contract 7 on contract on Field 7 has now finished, and he'll finish the work in just a moment. I'm not actually going to turn that one in until the other one is finished, in case I got the tractors the wrong way round. The other thing that we want to do is we want to go to this one, and we actually want to get started on doing the fertilizer jobs that we took. We got Field 8, 10, and 12 right there that we want to get going with. I'm actually thinking, before I get going with those... I thought I'd started the engine. Oh, I've started the engine now. Before I get going with those, I was actually thinking that I will do a bit of this, and I will take one load over to the biogas plant. So we'll take one double trailer over to there. We'll bring the trailers back, we'll park them up, and then we will go and get started on the fertilizer jobs and run around with those. We've got $6,000 at the moment, which is enough to go and get 3 bags of fertilizer. So we can fill our fertilizer spinner all the way back up should we need to. Not sure that we will need to. We will just kind of wait and see on that one. So I want to just inch forward a little bit just to get rid of that little speck that was just there. And then I'm going to switch this one off. I can't move very easily with this one down on the ground. So I'm just going to... yeah, I just want to move it a little bit. Alright, I can move a bit, but it does make it shake and judder around quite a lot. Really doesn't like it, does it? And I'm going to, because I'm about to leave this one, I'm going to put it there. It's kind of wanting to move me along, so I'm actually going to... well, I suppose I can't really. I want to just lower it down, drop it there. Hopefully it will stay there without causing us too much trouble. So I will go take these two to the biogas plant, bring them back, park them up again, because we've nearly finished working our way through this clamp. So it'd be nice to be able to get the rest of it down to the biogas plant today if we can. And that way we've gotten all of it down there, and then we've only got the silage that's actually at the plant that we'll then need to deal with. And I'm seriously considering for that one, we sell the mill and possibly sell the 2 trailers as well, and then we buy ourselves some conveyor belts. If we buy a conveyor belt system, because we know that the conveyor belts do work. They can be used to go and do it. And although they're a little bit slow moving stuff around, it's probably going to be quicker than loading stuff into a trailer and then ferrying it over in the trailer. So I reckon it's probably something that we should seriously consider. Silage is definitely something that is earning us a decent bit of money. So we can consider doing more silage work and keeping going with that. But we also do want to start looking at when and where we're going to get our cows. Now, we've been talking about, you know, upgrading some stuff, possibly going into the root crops and doing some of that. But it's going to require a significant investment to be able to start doing anything with the root crops. And then it's a very time-consuming process. We're looking at 150,000 euros minimum to get started on either potatoes or sugar beet. I mean, maybe we can get away with a little bit less on the sugar beet side. But it's still going to be a significant chunk of money. And it's also going to be quite time-consuming doing any harvest or anything like that. So it's not going to be fast. It's not going to be easy to go and do that. So maybe we should sort of focus on building up our grass production first. Because, I mean, the grass production itself, we have got the potential to earn a significant chunk of money from it with doing the silage in here. Now, looking at the belts that we've got available, we've got belt systems right here. So we would need one of those, which is $5,000, and we need one of these, which is $38,000. We've got to have those two. Then we'll need some of these, and I don't think we'll get away with just one. I think we'd need 2. So in order to bring belts over this side, we are looking at 53 Sorry, 5371, possibly 89,000 euros. So we're not going to get a lot of change out of 90 grand to go and build these up. So you got that one right there. There's one to the next one, and then this one goes into the trailer. Yeah, we're really not going to get a lot of change out of 90 grand trying to span across this distance. Now, we may be able to do it with one less than that. I don't even know. I mean, what's going on here? I pressed the wrong button on there. I just changed the side that it's tipping. Tip side left. Tip side right. Change that one. Okay, this is where I want. That's what I meant to do. I pressed the wrong button. I pressed U. Change the tip side on the trailers, which I didn't really want to do. So, yeah, it is going to be a little bit difficult getting this kind of like sorted out. Now, the other problem that we had, when we put the silage in here, it took a very long time to roll it down. That was a very time-consuming process. So I'm not sure that I want to have to go through that too many times. I don't know what people here think. One thing that we might be able to do is actually get the silage making the fermenter machine from the global company. I realize that the fermenting silo is possibly not what you'd consider to be a hardcore element, and some of you won't like it, so I'm just going to put that out there at the moment. We could use this as a possibility, and then so you bring the grass to it, and then all you've got to do is just hook the trailers up underneath and then carry the contents straight over and tip it out. There's no rolling of silage clamps or anything like that. We avoid all of that messy business. So I don't know what you think of that. That's definitely something for everybody to think about and discuss. Let me know in the comment section what you think of it. It would be a while before I invested in something like that if I was going to, but yeah, it's a possibility. There's a possibility that we could go and use that at some point later on in our series. It's just whether or not anybody actually thinks that I should be doing it. So it's not whether or not we can, it's whether or not we should. That's the kind of the principle that we need to operate on right here. And yeah, so we'll make a decision about that. If we were to stay, I mean, if we stay with the grass production, we're doing all right with it. It still takes quite a while, so I kind of want to, like, if I'm going with grass production, upgrading is definitely something that I want to be looking at. Now, we've got that tiny little rake, which obviously does make a difference. If we can get a bigger rake, that's going to really improve the situation. A bigger rake is definitely going to make a significant difference to anything that we might be doing here. If we've got a bigger rake, then there's a lot fewer rows, there's a lot less driving in the field when it comes to filling up the thing. You've still got the distance to travel between here and the biogas plant, so there's still that bit to deal with. And well, that's about it, really. That's about the only bit that we've got to worry about. Right, just going to park you up there for a minute, and we're going to... Unfortunately, folks, that is all we have got time for today. A massive thank you to everybody who has earned their way into the Great Book of Names. To find out some more details about all the names coming past, please head into the description and click on the link to the Discord. It's a link to another video. The link is on the other video. Please also consider checking out the links there for Nitrado, who provide gaming servers for games like Farming Simulator, Minecraft, Ark, and several others. And there's also Fanatical, who will help support your gaming habit by providing you with cheap games and also giving me a small commission on anything that you buy using my link. If you've enjoyed this particular video, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.